Thomas Gibbons, the state's attorney in Madison County, Illinois, with us this afternoon. Mr. Gibbons, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Cam.
Well, thank you for joining us. All right, so we've read your opinion on the show here, and we went through what folks have to do to meet your requirements to legally carry in Madison County, Illinois, right now. Why did you decide to issue these guidelines, despite the lack of a concealed carry law in the state right now?
Well, this all began back in December last year when the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals struck down portions of our unlawful use of weapons statute. It was those parts of the statute that prohibited otherwise law-abiding citizens from carrying a firearm with them while it was loaded. And at the time, the court gave the state of Illinois 6 months to put a law in place, but it still left the status of the law and the constitutionality of the law in question. And so we've been prosecuting people under that statute, as I'm required to do by my oath.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, there was serious question about the validity of that prosecution, and of course, defense attorneys whose clients have been charged with this were filing motions to dismiss. So we started taking a really serious look at this. Let me start off by saying I'm a huge proponent of Second Amendment rights, and I'm a big proponent of concealed carry in Illinois. I've testified twice in front of committees in Springfield, and this is something I think is appropriate and correct. But I still have to make sure that I'm applying the law equally and fairly as it's written. But now, with a higher court telling us that these sections of the statute are unconstitutional, I think it's wrong for me to prosecute a citizen for conduct that has been declared to be constitutionally protected. How can I do that in good conscience? Not to mention the fact it's a waste of judicial resources.
All right. Now, as I understand it, the Illinois State Police have come out and said, hey, still against the law to carry, so you may very well still be arrested in Madison County. Is that right?
Well, the Illinois State Police, first of all, we have a great working relationship with the Illinois State Police. District 11 here in our area, they have some great people doing really good work there, and we have a phenomenal working relationship with them. This comes from the home office. This comes from the top, and I recognize that locally they have to respect their commanders, and I understand that. And that is the prerogative of the Illinois State Police to have whatever arrest policies they wish to choose. I can't tell them what to do. But what I have told them is what will happen if they bring those arrests to my office for charges and they fit under those criteria that I've listed. We won't be filing charges.
You will not be filing charges. Okay. And as far as the concealed carry law itself, I mean, what happens if Governor Quinn doesn't sign the law? And then I guess we would revert back to home rule? Madison County would have to come up with its own statutes?
Well, that's one of the reasons why this was important to do. The situation in Springfield remains an unknown. We're not sure where that's going to go, and who knows what the governor's going to do. So, I know our legislators worked really hard to get a bill in place, and our local legislators were all in favor of concealed carry and got a bill passed through both houses. But I can't wait for Springfield to take action or for the governor to take action. We have a need here in Madison County right now. People need to have some sort of certainty about what is the law and what can they do and what will they be prosecuted or not prosecuted for. So that's why I've done this. Even if the governor were to sign that bill, it takes 6 months for that bill to be fully implemented. So the question remains, what would we do in the meantime? And that's why I've laid out these principles for citizens of Madison County and visitors to Madison County and for law enforcement to know what to do. Now, let me tell you, our sheriff is 100% on board with me. Sheriff Hertz stands behind me on this, and his department is not going to be arresting. And I've spoken to others from other local law enforcement agencies, and they're with me on this as well. So the state police, as far as I know at this point, they stand alone.
Have you heard from other states' attorneys in other counties who are interested or perhaps thinking about doing the same thing?
I've talked to a couple that were interested in it, and we've had some interesting conversations. And, I think each state's attorney has to do what they think is right and appropriate for their county. And I'm not going to presume to tell anybody what else to do. I'm just making sure that this, I've been elected by the people of Madison County, and they've asked me to make sure that justice gets done in Madison County. And this is one way that I can do that for the citizens who elected me.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time, and if folks have, if there anybody living in Madison County who has questions, could they contact your office?
Believe me, they have been. Yeah, and it's nice to hear from them. I am so appreciative of all the thanks and the emails and the phone calls. The outpouring of support has been phenomenal. And it just goes to show you, the folks that are on our side, they are good, decent, law-abiding citizens and just decent people. It just reminds me of why I love being in Madison County and why I am so honored to be the state's attorney for Madison County, because there are just so many great people out there, and I'm just happy that we can do this here, and I have the ability to do something for them.
Well, again, we really appreciate your time, Mr. Gibbons. Have a great weekend, sir, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.